Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the latest video for the Alternate Reality Football League. Round 10 has now been uploaded to the website. That's round 10 for the professional leagues, of course, as they're known. Now, just to double check, just to confirm for you guys as well, in case you're wondering why there is no cup fixtures and it's just all league, there will be cup fixtures. For those of you who already know, you won't need to see it, but this is the fixture schedule. Now, as you can see, the professional leagues go on uninterrupted for 15 rounds. But then, after the 15th round of fixtures, so we're only 5 off that now, it will be the first round draw for the National League trophy. And then, of course, that first round will be completed. So you have a little scroll through there. You can see EFL trophy there after 17 rounds, the League Cup after 19 rounds, and then finally the FA Cup after 21 rounds. So we do focus more on the leagues first, but then you can see a lot of the cup fixtures start coming in. You can see there the Premier League starts a staggered fixture run in. This also happens for the National League Championship and League One. The only reason that I do that is because I want all 7 of the professional leagues to finish on the same day. It's a bit of a bugbear of mine. I hate when you've got different finishing days in real life. But anyway, that is just to let you know in case you were wondering why there was no cup fixtures so far. So going back to the main page, the index page, as you can see there on the highlights, Liverpool have finally been beaten, but Spurs couldn't take the chance. So let's take a look at the results for round 10 of the Premier League. Huddersfield 4, Altrincham 1. You can see Huddersfield were 2-0 up at half-time, but they ended up clinching a very comfy 3-1 win. Very comfy for Ipswich as well, 3-0 win over Darlington. Millwall 0, Wolves 2, Nuneaton 1, Rotherham 1, Sheffield United 1, Tottenham 0. So Spurs beaten, and look at that, a 93rd minute goal from Sheffield United got them the win. What a game that was as well at Shrewsbury. Shrewsbury 4, Burton Albion 4 was an absolute thriller. And as you can see there from the timings, Burton led 4 times, only for Shrewsbury to equalise 4 times. Liverpool, they led 1-0 at half-time, but succumbs to a 2-1 defeat, an 85th minute winner there for Sunderland, meaning it's Liverpool's first defeat of the season. Welling 1, Middlesbrough 3, Borough had it wrapped up in the first half. Yeovil 1, Leeds 2. Yeovil did take the lead, and as you can see there, 2 goals in the last 16 minutes won it for Leeds. So Yeovil were a little unlucky. And York 3, Gainsborough 2. Well, Gainsborough had led 2-1 at half-time, but York with the victory. So we have a look at the Premier League table after 10 matches. So we are really getting into this now. Liverpool finally beaten, but they stay top on 25. That was after Spurs were also beaten at Sheffield United 24. Sunderland are on 23, Middlesbrough 22, and Middlesbrough are the form side in the division. So they're only 3 off Liverpool now. Sheffield United are in 5th place on 21, with Wolves also in the current European spots. Remember, the top 6 sides in the league all qualify for European competition. They are on 20 points. Leeds also going well. We've got to give them a mention. They've won 5 in a row, and they are 8th on 19 points. Down the bottom, Yeovil has been a horrible run of form. They stay bottom on 4, with Millwall and Altrincham in the relegation zone on 5. Then it's Gainsborough on 7, with Shrewsbury on 8. York with that good win today. They're on 9 points. Let's have a look at the EFL Championship. Halifax 3, Exeter 2. Good game there. FC United of Manchester 2, Peterborough 1. Fulham, well, no surprise at all. Another draw for them, 2-2 with Crewe. Gosport 1, AFC Wimbledon 3. Luton 2, Morecambe 1. A rare win for Luton. The Battle of the Maids. Maidenhead 0, Maidstone 1. Maidstone scoring the only goal on 64. Manchester City with a 2-1 win over Sutton. As you can see, they were 2-0 up on 40. A goal back from Sutton on 82 made it a little bit more delicate. Newport 3, Gateshead 3. It was another classic game. Hull was surprisingly held by Port Vale to a 1-1 draw. Vale took a very early lead after just 2 minutes, but Hull did equalise in the second half. Business as usual for the leaders. Manchester United 3-0. They were 1-0 up at half-time, but added a couple of goals in the second half. Watford 4, Dartford 2. That was a cracking game. Watford led 3-0. Dartford did bring it back to 3-2, but an 86-minute clincher saw Watford get the 3 points, and Wycombe and Tamworth shared the points in a 2-2 draw. So let's have a look at the table in that division. Well, United still unbeaten, and they lead the way by 3 points after their win, coupled with Hull's draw 26-23. Man City is still third on 22, with Watford on 21, Maidstone 18. Fulham still unbeaten, but held to another draw. Look at that, 7 draws in 10 matches this season for Fulham. Their goal difference ahead of Wycombe and Dartford. Down the bottom, Gosport are still rock bottom on 5 points, with Port Vale and Southport on 7. Luton out of the relegation zone, they're on 9 points along with Morecambe and Gateshead. And then it's Exeter, who are 3 clear of the drop zone on 10. So let's drop down to EFL League 1 now for round 10. Telford 0, Sheffield Wednesday 2, the league leaders going great guns. What a game it was at Aston Villa. Aston Villa 5, Blackburn 4. It was an absolutely cracking game. You can see Villa led 3-1 at half time. Blackburn really did make a game of it though. But it was Villa who finally finished the scoring after 78 minutes to get a 5-4 win. It was comfortable for Chelsea, a Barrow 4-0 winners away from home. Brighton 1, Forest 4. Forest looking fairly easy for them. Chesterfield 1, Brentford 2. Dagenham 3, Bristol Rovers 1. That's a good performance from Dagenham. Ebbsfleet 2, Bishop Stortford 1. Ebbsfleet had to come from a goal behind. Lincoln 2, Southend 0. It's consecutive wins for Lincoln now. They had to wait until late in the game, as you can see, taking the lead on 71, but got the job done. North Ferriby 0, Mansfield 1. And look at that, a 97th minute winner from Mansfield. Portsmouth 1, Stoke 1. QPR 2, West Ham 0. So West Ham, who were unbeaten a couple of rounds ago, have now lost 2 in a row. And Staleybridge 1, Coventry 3. It's back to winning ways as far as the Sky Blues are concerned. So looking at the table in League 1, you can see Sheffield Wednesday still unbeaten and lead the way, but only by a point, 26 to Forest and QPR on 25. Then a bit of a 4-point gap to Aston Villa on 21, with Coventry on 20. Chelsea are in the top 6 on goal difference, just ahead of Brentford, both on 19. But it's close, Blackburn and Stoke with 18. Staleybridge are right up there as well on 17. Down the bottom, well, Brighton are still bottom on 5 points, with Barrow and Southend on 6. Southend still only 1 win for them. Mansfield, a little bit of form for them now. They're out of the relegation zone. They're on 8 points now with North Ferriby, Bristol Rovers, Telford and Bishop Stortford. Really, really tight down there. EFL League 2 for round 10. Alfreton Town 1, Wigan 3. Bournemouth held to a draw by Curzon Ashton. As you can see, they were 2-0 down at half-time, the Cherries, but came back to get a point. Burnley 2, St Albans 0, both goals in the first half. Charlton 2, Aldershot 3. Paultown 5, Wealdstone 1. Paul were 4-0 up at half-time. Preston 1, Stockport 1. Rochdale 2, Truro 2. Salford were 3-1 winners over East Thurrock. Stevenage got themselves a point, coming from 2-0 down. Took a 94th minute equaliser there. Swindon 1, Gillingham 1. Walsall beating the MK Dons 2-1. And Weston-super-Mare, well, they needed a 90th minute winner to clinch a 3-2 win over Hartlepool. So the League 2 table looks like this. Bournemouth and Poole, the 2 Dorset clubs, both still unbeaten and both now level, 24 points each, but goal difference of plus 16 to Bournemouth and plus 14 to Poole. So the Cherries still lead the way over the Dolphins. Then it's Aldershot and Burnley on 22, with Salford only 3 off the top on 21. Truro still in the top 6 on 20. If you look at the bottom of the table, Stevenage and Alfreton both on 5 points. Stevenage's goal difference means they're still bottom. Wealdstone, it's been a shocking run of form for them. They're now in the drop zone on 6 points along with East Thurrock, with Gillingham on 7 and Doncaster on 8. And Weston-super-Mare are now 3 clear of the drop zone on 9. Into the National League, starting with the Premier Division. Boston 2, Fleetwood 0. Bradford 5, Eastleigh 1. Bradford were 3-0 up at half time. Eastleigh did get a goal back, but 2 fairly late goals from Bradford clinched a very simple win. Braintree 2, Worcester 3. Worcester came from 2-0 down, as you can see, at half time. Palace 1, Margate 1. Eastbourne 0, Cardiff 5. Very comfortable for Cardiff. Macclesfield 1, Chester 2. Chester were another side out to come from behind. Newcastle 3, Harrogate 2. Newcastle were 3-0 up on 54. Harrogate did get a couple of late goals to make it a bit testy, but they got the win. Oxford City 2, Northampton Town 2. Swansea City 3, Oxford 1. So the leaders with another comfy victory. Oxford with a consolation goal on 85. Tranmere 2, Reading 1. Cracking game at West Brom. West Brom 3, Derby 3. And Wrexham 0, Brackley Town 1. A fairly late winner on 77 for Brackley. So a look at the National League Premier Division current table. After 10 rounds, Swansea are still unbeaten and lead their Welsh rivals Cardiff by 3 points, 26 to 23. Both fairly comfortable winners today. Then it's Newcastle and Brackley, both on 21, with West Brom 5th on 19 and Derby 6th on 17. Of course, 5th and 6th played each other today in that 3-3 draw. Down the bottom, Eastleigh still prop up the table on 5, with Eastbourne on 6. Macclesfield and Braintree on 7. Braintree, despite being on pretty poor form, is still outside the bottom 3 on goal difference. Then it's Fleetwood and Northampton on 8. Oxford United are 3 clear of the zone on 10. National League Championship now, Accrington 1, Gloucester 1. You can see it was a 90th minute equaliser from Gloucester to grab a point. Barnet 1, Arsenal 4. So rare goal conceded from Arsenal. And in fact, at half time it was 1-1, but Arsenal stepped it up in the second half for another comfortable victory. Bath City 2, Solihull Moors 1. Bristol City 2, Bromley 2. Bromley were 2-0 up after 7 minutes, but late goals in the second half from Bristol managed to get a point. Cambridge 3, Woking 2. All the goals came in the first 17 minutes of the game. Look at that. Woking opened the scoring on 6. Cambridge would then score on 7, 9 and 12 to go 3-1 up. After 17 minutes, the 5th and final goal of the match was scored, and it ended 3-2. Dover 2, Torquay 1, a 95th minute winner for Dover. They had to come from 1-0 down to get that. Another cracking game as well. Forest Green finally off the mark with their first win of the campaign, a 4-3 win over Scunthorpe. Scunthorpe did lead 1-0 at half-time. It was a real topsy-turvy game, but Forest Green finally get the win. Grimsby 0, Southampton 2, comfortable for the Saints. Hungerford 1, Bradford Park Avenue 0. Kidderminster, their brilliant form continues, a 2-0 win over Carlisle. And Norwich, fairly comfortable over Whitehawk, although it did take an hour, as you can see there, to break through the Whitehawk defence. But once they did, they added 2 more goals. So the National League Championship table looks like this. Arsenal still unbeaten, 9 wins and a draw, have been magnificent. Look at that. That goal against Barnet today was only the 4th goal that they have conceded all season, 28 points. They are 4 clear of Southampton on 24, with Gloucester and Kidderminster on 22. Norwich have 21, but now a 4-point gap is open between Norwich and Bradford PA, who are on 17 points and currently occupy the final playoff spot. Down the bottom, well, Forest Green are still at the bottom despite their first win, but they now join Grimsby on 6 points. Bristol City in the drop zone on 7, with Solihull and Dover on 8, and Whitehawk and Torquay are on 9 points. Hungerford on 10 are 3 clear of the drop zone. Lastly, National League 1 for round 10. Barnsley 2, Colchester 0, Birmingham 3, Boreham Wood 1, so another good performance from Birmingham. Blackpool 2, Hemel Hempstead 1. This was the big game of the day at the University of Bolton Stadium. Bolton Wanderers 4, Oldham Athletic 2. Bolton, you can see, took the lead in the first minute of the game, but they went in at half-time 2-1 down to the league leaders after Oldham scored on 26 and 31. After 70 minutes, they were still 2-1 down, Bolton, but finally found an equaliser, and then 2 goals, as you can see there, in the 89th and 92nd minutes, clinched a win for Bolton. First defeat of the season for Oldham, and it means Bolton will be the new leaders, which we'll show you in a moment. Cheltenham 0, Guiseley 2, fairly comfy for Guiseley. Chorley 3, Hampton and Richmond 1. Concord 0, Plymouth 2, so a first win of the season for Plymouth. They left it late, 76 and 98 minutes. There was a lot of injury time goals scored in this round. Crawley 3, Bury 1. Bury led at half time, but goals after 72, 79 and 84 won it for Crawley. Everton, well, they were beaten for the first time this season. A 5th-minute goal was all that Leyton Orient needed at Goodison. 1-0, stunning result. Leicester City 3, Chelmsford 2. It was 2-2 at half-time. But the final goal was scored fairly early on in the second half, 49 minutes, and Leicester clinched another 3 points. And Notts County 4, AFC Fylde 1. Fylde will remain bottom and remain the only winless side left in this division, despite only being 2-1 down at half-time. So the League One table looks like this. As you can see, Bolton now the only unbeaten side, and they are the new leaders on 26 points after beating Oldham, who slipped to second on 25. Everton, beaten for the first time as well. They are third on 21 points, with Guiseley on 20. Leicester, Leyton Orient and Birmingham all on 18 points. Poor Fylde, still winless 10 games into the season. They're on 3. They're now 4 adrift of safety as well. Colchester, Boreham Wood, Concord and Cheltenham all on 7. But it's Boreham Wood and Colchester on goals scored, as you can see, are in the relegation zone. Minus 11 along with Concord, but Concord have scored 14. And then you've got Hemel Hempstead and Plymouth. First win of the season sees them up to 16th place on 8 points. If we have a look at the fixtures for round 11, round 11 will probably be uploaded, I would assume, early next week now, or possibly at the weekend, but I'll keep you updated. But there you can see for Premier League round 11, Altrincham, Sunderland, Burton, Ipswich, Darlington, Yeovil, Gainsborough against Huddersfield, Leeds, Millwall, Liverpool, Nuneaton, Rotherham against Middlesbrough, Sheffield United, York, Spurs, Shrewsbury, and Wolves, Welling. If you want to see all the other fixtures, of course, I will have my preview show, which I would hope will be up before the end of the week for you. But if you want to see any of the fixtures at all, then please go to the website, altrealfootballleague.com. As you can see, it's /upcoming fixtures if you want to see what the fixtures will be for round 11. Current standings, of course, I've just shown you the tables, but again, just go to altrealfootballleague.com if you want to see any of the other information here. Fixture schedule, as of course I've already showed you that, but if you want to see the recent results, again, you can click on there, or just go to recent results, which of course includes all the results so far. You can see Premier League round 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. So if you want to see what any of the results have been, if you're new to the Alternate Reality Football League and you wonder what the hell it is you're actually watching, then you can see all of the results there that we have had so far in the first 10 rounds of this campaign. The last window to show you, of course, is personally one of my favourites. It's the form charts. Let's close all those other windows down. So you can see in the Premier League, well, Middlesbrough are now, of course, top of the form chart. 16 points from the last 18 available. They're on a 4-match winning streak. But look at Leeds United. They'd made a poor start, but now they are absolutely flying. 5 wins on the spin for them now. Of course, in round 10, they had to leave it late against Yeovil and come from behind, but they did make it 5 wins on the spin. Sunderland, big winners over Liverpool today, ending Liverpool's unbeaten start. That's back to winning ways for them as well, after they were beaten previously. 15 points for them, and 15 points as well for Spurs, despite their defeat to Sheffield United. You can see Sheffield United are 5th in the form chart. That matches where they actually are in the table. As you can see, that's their form position. That's the actual position, and there's the difference. So you can see there's a few teams there that are exactly where they should be in terms of the league. Wolves right behind them. But look at Liverpool. The actual league leaders are now down to 7th in the form chart. That's what one defeat can do for you in the form chart. They're now down to 7th on 13 points from the last 18. Huddersfield doing relatively well, 4 wins in the last 6 matches. And you've got Ipswich there. The opposite end of the scale, well, Yeovil. This only takes into account the last 6 games, of course. They have lost more than just 6 in a row. In fact, I believe they've lost 8 on the spin, Yeovil. And you can see Altrincham, Gainsborough, Shrewsbury, Burton Albion all struggling on 2. Millwall haven't won in 5. They're on 4. Perhaps no surprise when you look at the actual table. In fact, look at where some of their positions are. 19th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 20th. The real different one there, Burton Albion, are actually 11th in the Premier League table, but 16th in terms of their form. You can see at least no wins in the last 6 games for them. So Championship form, again, no real surprise at the top. Manchester United and Hull, as they are the top 2 in the actual league. Both have taken 16 points from the last 18, but United have moved back ahead of Hull in the form chart. Then it's Watford, who've taken 14 points. City have taken 13. Wycombe going along quite quietly, but doing well on 11 points from the last 18. FC Halifax have done well in recent weeks as well. You can see was a bit up and down. They won 2 in a row, then lost 2, but won last time out, 10 points. Down the other end of the scale, well, you can see it's very tight now. Wimbledon, Luton, Crewe, Port Vale, Gosport and Morecambe have all taken just 5 points from the last 18, but Wimbledon and Luton, of course, both won in round 10. You can see Wimbledon there are actually 9th in the table, so this has only been a recent poor run of form for them. In terms of winning runs, well, you can see Watford are top of that pile. They have won 4 in a row. If we look at League One's form chart, we can see Sheffield Wednesday, as they actually are in the divisional table, they're top. They've won 4 in a row, 16 points. Then it's Stoke on 14. QPR and Forest have taken 13 points. Forest, after they had that little 2-match mini blip, back to consecutive victories. It's also back-to-back wins for Chelsea and Brentford, as you can see, and Villa also 12. Portsmouth 11, Stainbridge 10. Down the bottom, Barrow, much like Yeovil in the Premier Division, well, they've picked up no points from the last from the last 18 points available. It's been pretty poor. Southend and Brighton also struggling as they are in the table. You can see that these 3 clubs are the bottom in the form chart and the bottom in the actual table, so it's no surprise. Chesterfield's a bit of a surprise though. 4 defeats on the spin for them now. Bishop Stortford 5. Ebbsfleet and Dagenham both won last time out. The League 2 form chart, Poole Town, 5 wins in a row for them. They're top of the form chart on 16. Then it's Aldershot 15. Wigan, Bournemouth, the league leaders of course, but now level on points with their Dorset rivals Poole. They've drawn their last 2 consecutively, so that's a slight mini blip, but they're still unbeaten. Then Burnley 13, Salford and Preston haven't lost in the last 6 either as well. You can see there 12 points. And Truro going as well, as you would expect them to, on 10. Down the bottom, Alfreton, it's been a poor run of form, just 1 point. Wealdstone have sunk like a stone. They and Gillingham have picked up just 2, with Swindon and Doncaster on 4, also struggling a little bit for form. Although Doncaster, to be fair, it's a 2-match unbeaten streak for them after a win and a draw. National League Premier Division form chart, you can see Swansea untouchable at the minute, 6 wins on the spin from the last 6 games. Brackley going really well, 4 wins in a row for them, as it is for Newcastle as well. But you can see Brackley haven't lost in at least the last 6. Derby right up there on 13. Cardiff, after failing to win in their previous 2, back to winning ways for round 10, so they are 5th in the form chart. West Brom and Oxford City doing all right as well on 9 points from the last 18. Down the bottom, where it's Braintree and Eastleigh who've had the worst form, just 4 points. In fact, Braintree's run of 4 consecutive defeats is matched only by Eastbourne, but of course Eastbourne have won their previous 2 before those 4 consecutive defeats. Oxford United also on a bit of a poor run of form with 6 points. In the National League Championship, Arsenal, again another untouchable side, 6 wins on the spin from the last 6. Kidderminster have won 5 in a row. They're 2nd in the form chart and 4th in the actual table. They are flying. They haven't lost since their 2nd match of the season. Remember, they lost their opening 2. Southampton are 3rd on 15 points. And it's Norwich and Accrington with 11 points. And Gloucester have picked up 10. If we look down the opposite end of the table, Grimsby, 1 win and 5 defeats in their last 6 matches, just 3 points. Solihull and Whitehawk 4, Torquay and Forest Green 5, but of course Forest Green off and running with their first win of the season for round 10. And then finally the form chart for National League 1. Bolton, 6 wins on the spin. They finally ended Oldham's unbeaten start to the season and took the lead in that table as well, not just in the form chart. 15 points for Oldham. Birmingham haven't lost in their last 6. They're on 14, with Everton on 13, having been beaten in round 10 for their first defeat of the season. Guiseley and Leyton Orient going well on 11. Port Fylde, the only winless side left in the division, just 1 point for them, with Boreham Wood on 3. But look at Boreham Wood though, they've lost 5 in a row to slip down the table and the form chart. Colchester and Cheltenham have been poor as well with 4, with Plymouth and Crawley on 5, both winning last time out. So that is it for the round 10 show. I hope you've enjoyed listening. As I say, if you want to see any full information, or if you're just bored of listening to my voice and you actually just want to see it, then please go along to altrealfootballleague.com. You will also keep tabs on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course I'm about to upload this video to YouTube if you ever want to see any more information. So yeah, that's it for me for today. Thank you very much once again for listening, and I will be back with the round 11 preview show, as I say, hopefully by the end of the week. Thanks once again. See you later.